How we doing? How we looking? How we feeling, fam? Top of the morning over here from Sydney, Australia. A lot of breaking news. People getting signed. People on the pup list. People not showing up to camp. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. But as always, drop a like as we trickle in. Say what's up if you're in the chat. And we're going to be doing a mock draft today. Once again, as always, it's still only me. Zach is on his way back, if I'm not mistaken, either today or tomorrow. Like in the air. He's leaving LA tomorrow, your guys' time. Don't mark my words. But yeah, say what's up if you're in the chat. Daniel Macy, 43 days until kickoff. And as we saw, training camp has officially started with a lot of breaking news trickling in already. Pat O'Connell, Saquon might be back saved. Saquon coming back might save my season. He's only my decent keeper. We'll definitely talk about Say. I'm pretty happy about that. Gator fans saying bringing on those likes. Once again, say what's up if you're in the chat. And just show some love. We let as people are trickling in here. Yeah, I mean, so much news, so much to go to talk about today. I'm just really interested in what you guys think. I'm going to bring I mean, obviously I live in Australia. So me getting the news, waking up to, well, technically I saw Saquon's news last night. So I was pretty happy about that at my time, even though that happened this morning. So I was pretty pumped about that. But yeah, let's kind of break it down. Let's do what we do. What's happening, Styles? How you doing? How you feeling? Let's go and break it down with some news. Let's start off at the top here. Let me just bring up this screen so you guys can see. Okay. Justin Herbert signs a massive 5-year contract extension, $262.5 million. Guaranteed, with guarantees added on. Obviously, this makes him, if I'm not mistaken, the highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now. Son's largest contract in the NFL history in terms of average per year, coming at $52.2 million. Third quarterback to reset the market this offseason. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy because this is what Deshaun Watson wanted. Or sorry, this is what Lamar Jackson wanted. Because when Deshaun Watson got that crazy contract, we was like, okay, that's kind of absurd. Deshaun Watson hasn't played in a year. He was going through all those allegations. They gave him a crazy contract. And then Lamar was like, okay, well, if I don't got those allegations, if I took this team to the playoffs before, if I finished, I had an MVP season, you telling me I can't get paid this much? But Justin Herbert gets paid this much? I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, Herbert got his flowers for sure. Like, I love Justin Herbert. I'm just wondering, I bet you if I'm Lamar Jackson looking at this, getting this tweet at home, or technically X, by the way, that changed, technically X, I might be a little bit salty. It's like, yo, why didn't you pay me this? Right? Maybe LA is a bigger market, a bigger city. It's just the franchise, just the selling point over there is a little bit bigger. But I don't know. I'm not necessarily sure. Once again, he got his flowers. I love it. And I'm happy. In a dynasty perspective, I think he's always going to be around that, top 5, top 6 QB, unless he kind of goes crazy this year. I love that for Quentin Johnston as well, in the longevity perspective. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let me just see here. Cats, what's happening? Big breakfast, what's happening? Style says that's my quarterback. I know you must be really happy. Problem is that Lamar hasn't been available like Herbert has been, for sure. I would agree there. I'm not disagreeing. But we've seen the history and success with Lamar. And maybe that's why Lamar was so frustrated and kind of banked on himself. And when he banked on himself, he got injured in the second half of the season. And that's kind of what the whole thought process of Saquon Barkley. Let's kind of talk about Saquon. Let's see if they have him here. Actually, I can bring up Saquon. Let's bring up Ian Rappaport. He kind of talks about Saquon. So Saquon signs a 1-year deal. Where you at, man? Come on. I can actually probably go to home. I can come here. I can go to my likes. Here we go. So this is it. Barkley agrees to a 1-year deal worth $11 million. So he gets an extra $1 million to play this year, essentially with the 2-year, a $2 million signing bonus. I think this is to prolong the process. I think Saquon kind of took away his leverage when he went on that podcast and said, hey, I know what my leverage is. My leverage is to not show up to training camp, to not be this guy, to be this leader, to not be there for my teammates, but I'm not going to do that. That was when he took away his leverage, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not that type of person, or obviously I'm paraphrasing along those lines. So Saquon signs this deal because he wants to be with this team. And what's really interesting about this is that they can still restructure and give him a longer contract coming into this year. Or if they don't come to an agreement this year, they can still franchise tag him with the 2nd-year franchise tag price, which I don't know what that is for a running back. But clearly it's not just $10 million. I think it's significantly higher, which I could be wrong. So don't mark my words on that. So I think that is something really interesting. I see a question. Styles says, this could be the last year for Saquon as a Giant. I'm not necessarily sure. I think both the Giants and Saquon want to come to an agreement. I just don't think Saquon had the leverage. So now if he's playing in the middle of the season, hypothetically, kind of like what they did in the bye week last year and offered him a new contract, maybe they give him a little bit more with incentives, or maybe they give him, what, I don't know, $5 million, $3 million more than what they offered him last year, and say, hey, I've been healthy. I've been the reason that we've been successful. And I think he could potentially get a longer term contract. That's what I'm hoping for, but I will not be surprised if he's no longer with this team. I would say this. Anything can happen, Styles, for sure. Anything can happen. Who else? All right, let's go to Fantasy Pros here. Jonathan Taylor starting on the PUP list. I'm very interested to why that is the case. Is he still dealing with some injuries? What does that look like for him? I got a little mouse. My cursor is like glitched. Anyways, just a mental thing. I'm interested to see what that looks like. Maybe he's still dealing with that. I think it was a knee injury last year and continues to recover from right knee surgery, and star running back underwent in January. Okay, so he'll probably more be taken as precaution. So he's starting the season of training camp with being on the PUP list. Tony Pollard clear for camp, which is good. Jameson Crowder on non place on the PUP list. Essentially, Wandale Sterling on the PUP. Trayvon Diggs, if you're a Cowboys fan, get a 5-year contract extension. So more blown coverages for those Cowboys fans. Shout out to you guys. Justin Jefferson getting Brock Purdy cleared for camp. I think this is a big one here. Has been medically cleared for camp for training camp and will be on a pitch count. Now, this automatically gives him the edge. He's ready. He's on the count. We don't want to we don't want his arm to be too sore. We don't want him to kind of, re-aggravated or feel uncomfortable throughout training camp. Let's progressively bring him in. And if we see that, maybe he plays a game or two, a series or two in preseason. I think that can be very interesting as well for Brock Purdy coming into this year. I'm excited to see what he could do and if he's really going to be the quarterback. I think right now, truly, QB1 is still up in the air, because if Brock Purdy came on the training camp on the PUP list, a little bit more, percentage of a start would have went to Trey Lance coming into this year. But for me right now, Brock Purdy clear for camp. Let's see what he could do. Jameson Williams with a minor leg injury. He's suspended for 6 games, so it's not that big of a deal. DeAndre Hopkins to miss 2 days in camp. So it's not too crazy. Jimmy G has no restrictions in training camp, which I think is really good. And Zay Flowers getting an early impression, making a great early impression. Michael Thomas feels good where Michael Thomas at, GM said. I mean, we said that last year, didn't we? We said that last year. All right, guys. If you want to join a mock draft, all you have to do is join our Discord. Link is in the description, and link is going to be in the chat here as well. I'll put that link here. That is the link to the mock draft. And if you want to join a mock draft, join our Discord, go to the Fantasyland tab, then go to content releases. This is exactly where I will be posting this link to this mock draft every single time, guys, okay? There's nowhere else. So join our Discord, go to content releases, come to this tab here, and that's where I'll be posting the link. And let me get this link here for you guys on Sleeper, and then I will send that your way in 3, 2, there you go. Yo, his contract is just wild. Am I wrong there? Like, it's just crazy. He said, what would you say the floor and ceiling of Quentin Johnson this year and future? I would say his floor, in my opinion, is a Mike Williams. His ceiling for the future is, I personally think he can be a Stephon Diggs type of player. He could be the wide receiver 1, getting targets, playing, those deep routes, going up and contesting the catch, and then also playing in the slot. So that's kind of the guy that the envision that I have for Quentin. I'm significantly higher on Quentin than I would say the community is key. I've always been a massive advocate for QJ. Yeah, I think a lot of people aren't necessarily in love with him. So, but this year specifically, that's for the future. I think his absolute base is overall career is a Mike Williams floor with the ceiling of a Stephon Diggs. Now, let me just send this link out really fast again. I'll send it to our other Discord just so we can get this filled up. Now, this year, I don't necessarily see him having a massive opportunity unless Mike Williams and or Keenan Allen is going to be missing time. He is going to be playing the wide receiver 3 role right now, and I believe he could easily step into an opportunity if Mike Williams or Keenan Allen is going to miss time, but that all depends on what happens there. So that's kind of where I'm at. Okay, we are filled up right now. This is a 1 quarterback. Here, let me write it in the chat. 1 quarterback, non-tight end prem. And let's start this draft. So that's kind of my ceiling, man. Hopefully that's helpful. We'll see. Gator fan, I'm pretty sure they can talk. If you talk about Saquon, I'm pretty sure they can talk and renegotiate his contract later on in the season. It's just like anyone else's. I would say. Joshua said they can franchise tag him, so it wouldn't be his last year either way unless they let him walk. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so Austin Eckler goes first. CMC falls to me there. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, CMC, or Tyreek Hill. I'm going to switch it up because I did take CMC yesterday. I want to take Tyreek Hill here and see how we go. They can sign him to a 1-year deal, not multiple year deals after the deadline, Gator. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what they did. So that essentially what they did was they prolonged the opportunity to have a conversation for this year without Saquon being unhappy. They kind of came to an agreement. It's like, okay, you want to play this year? What can we do to get you into the building without having any complications, without you missing any time, with you just being a leader and having your mind focused straight on football? Maybe for Saquon, that was a $2 million signing bonus with an extra $1 million on top of the franchise tag amount. So there's a couple of different ways. Maybe that was okay for him. But yeah. So Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill, Bijan Robinson at the 106. Christian McCaffrey goes at the 107. So Bijan at the 106 going as the RB2 here for G16. That's a bit bold. But hey, this is what I would say. I said this last time. I've been saying this in a couple of videos. The last two running backs that went in the top 12 rounds has finished as a top 11 running back in their rookie year. So that one of those guys was Saquon Barkley. The other guy was Christian McCaffrey. So that is very interesting. Stephon Diggs at the 1-8. Travis Kelce folding at the 1-9 is phenomenal value there. So that's awesome. Getting Travis Kelce, Devontae Adams start, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Saquon, and Nick Chubb. I like that start at the turn there. Getting your quarterbacks, or your running backs, excuse me, and then Garrett Wilson and JT with Derrick Henry. So let's see how we go. Can I say worst case scenario? He's a Chase Claypool, although very unlikely. He definitely has a floor, just like most prospects. Okay, I'm assuming you're talking about Quentin. Maybe, yeah. I hear you. What's happening? James? James? I like to say James. I don't know why. How we doing? I have Quentin in both of my dynasty with Herbert in one. Yeah, that's phenomenal. I have, I got a lot of stock for Quentin coming into this year in our rookie draft. So I love Quentin. I love Quentin. I feel like I'm a lone wolf here. Normally in the community when it comes down to mocking and talking about Quentin Johnston, just because I'm so bullish on him. But hey, hopefully, I would say that he does land arguably the best spot for a rookie wide receiver. He just needs to produce with it. I would agree with everyone else. So let's see what's that. CMC at the 7 is wild. Yeah, he does fall at the 7. Bijan at the 7 is crazy. Sorry. CMC at the 7, Bijan at the 6 is wild. There goes Jalen Waddle off the board there. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. I feel like I have to go Olave here. I know the running backs are, what's this, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just don't know if I can take. Yeah, I want to take Chris Olave. Start building on these wide receivers coming into this year. Goes T. Higgins for Tebow. Let's get some music in my ears here. Metro. Tell me not the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Part 2 album is fire by Metro Boom. You can't, Across the Spider-Verse. You cannot tell me that is not a fire album. If you haven't listened to it, you need to listen to it. It's wild. Seven said, love that CD Wilson stack. Yeah, that's phenomenal. Shout out to you, man. That's a great start going over there. My wide receiver 3, and then, sorry, my wide receiver 4. No, what's CD? CD, let me just pull it up right here. No, yeah, he's my wide receiver 7. So that makes sense. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. I think he's my wide receiver 3 in Dynasty. That's why I got confused. All right. Stevenson, Breece Hall, Tony Pollard, just Jalen Hurts, Mark Andrews. So interested here because I'm assuming people aren't taking. I was considering Josh Jacobs where Chris Olave just went. So I'm assuming people aren't taking Josh Jacobs because of the holdout, because we're not necessarily sure if he's going to be ready week 1. What is everyone thinking here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's my RB7 right now. I think this is phenomenal value. I'm going to be taking Josh Jacobs here. Goes Josh Allen. Jahmyr Gibbs. It's another good pick here. Once again, kind of the same exact stat with Bijan Robinson. The last 2 running backs going in the top 12 finished as a top 11 in that year. I think it's good value to get Jahmyr Gibbs right there. So, yeah, Gator fan. Maybe if we get this light goal, guys, hopefully we can hit this light goal again. It's all about the light goal. If not, I can definitely start Superflex 1 next time. if you're in here, 26 people watching, 13 likes. If you can hit a like, that would really help us algorithm, help with the algorithm, help us get to that like goal of today. Let's do 35 to see if we can get to that second mock draft, guys. Second mock draft, that would be really helpful for us here. QJ is going to produce with that scheme. I agree. A lot of people don't believe that, though, just purely based off of the history of the TCU wide receivers. You know, Josh Dotson was a huge bust. What was it? Was it Jalen Reagor as well? If I remember correctly, out of TCU as well. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I could be wrong with Jalen Reagor. I can't remember off the top of my head. G16. I personally think Bijan will be RB1, but I'm taking JJ Chase Hill over him. He's a fourth overall for me. Okay, that's fair. I'm not as high on Bijan Robinson, just purely because I just feel a lot safer with these wide receivers and these running backs. I just feel a lot more confident with Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is my RB3 coming into this year. I feel a lot more comfortable taking Bijan Robinson over someone like a Jonathan Taylor, over like someone like a Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson, Breece Hall. But maybe I'm too low on Bijan Robinson coming into this year, or maybe I'm not giving him the respect that that he's due, or I'm just respecting all these other running backs a little bit too much. But Bijan Robinson landing in a phenomenal spot here with the Atlanta Falcons, top 3 in rushing attempts this past year. I think that can easily continue. So with Bijan Robinson, not only he's a threat on the ground, but he's a threat in the air. So look, I see it. I see the narrative. I think I'm giving the flowers to all these other running backs coming in to this year with, once again, Saquon, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, all those guys. In addition to Kellen Moore, with a guy like QJ in space, he's a monster. Yak wide receiver, moment unleash him. I agree, man. We saw what he did over there in Dallas, so I'm really excited. Steven, what's happening, brother? Did we get Berdakis' review on Barbenheimer? First of all, I haven't seen either of them. Neither of them, whichever one is correct. My wife went to go see Barbie. I wanted to go see it, but she went on like a little day date with her mom. I want to see Oppenheimer. I just haven't had the time, to be honest. I've been kind of holding it down over here since Zach's been away, trying to grind it out, make sure I'm doing all the admin stuff. I'm on the clock here. Let's look at these wide receivers, or running backs, and then wide receivers. Okay. I think it's pretty teardrop here. I think I'm going to have to go J.K. Dobbins, and I'll be really happy with whoever falls to me at the wide receiver position. I like my start at the wide receiver position so far, but let's see who falls to me here at the 5-5. But yeah, definitely want to see it. Just haven't had the opportunity. Once again, been holding down the fort here. Zach comes back this week, so we kind of get back into rhythm as that happening. I mean, perfect timing as well. You know, training camp started today for you guys. So I think a lot of people are hitting the news. Good Morning Football is back. And all these casual players are kind of starting to come back. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, hopefully I get to see Barbie and Oppenheimer here very soon. El Tigre, fantasy football community is tripping. Hill and Waddle in the first 2 rounds, but no one wants to touch Tua, even in redrafts. You don't got to tell me, brother. You do not have to tell me. I've been a massive advocate for Tua. I just bought out my Superflex rankings in redraft as well earlier this week. I just think he's getting very disrespected. I love Tua coming into this year. Without those concussions, he finishes a top 5, top 8 quarterback, and it's only going to get better there, in my personal opinion. So, all right. Terry, London, Watson, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy. I was kind of hoping Jerry Jeudy fell to me right there. Almost did, but I'm glad I took J.K. Dobbins because I'm not in love with the running backs left. There is 1 or 2 running backs that I do like, but I'd rather hold on, get J.K. now and be okay with it But I think this leaves me in a perfect opportunity here. I still believe in DeAndre Hopkins. Ryan Tannehill has produced fantasy relevant wide receivers, and D Hop is kind of not like, it's not like Julio Jones when he got picked up by the Titans. I think it's a little bit different. I'm hoping that the narrative is different. My wide receiver 3 at the 5-5. Let's go D Hop. Dan said I would have taken Jacobs, but I like the stack with Cup. Okay. But I love the stack with Cup. What do you mean? You mean Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts? Right. I'm assuming that's where you were talking about. Okay. Okay, they thought about going Jacobs, but went Andrews. Lane. I have Pollard and Ramondre Stevenson higher. Okay, then Josh Jacobs. That's fair. The community has been very, what's so interesting is like every single year, Josh Jacobs is still being disrespected, but so many people are advocating for him, but they're not drafting him high, right? You know, I mean, last year I wasn't like this. I mean, I guess his ADP wasn't too bad. I guess he was going in the 4th round, middle of the 4th, end of the 4th, I'd say early 5th round last year, and he's kind of nearly a round higher now, which is, well, okay, well, he kind of should give him his flowers this year. G16, Jacobs had a huge workload last year, and historically coming off that season like that, RP's regressed quite a bit, so I have heard a lot of people are out on Jacobs, but I don't know. I said the same thing in my take. I'm not as high as the community with Josh Jacobs because of the attempts. What was it, nearly 350 attempts on the ground, the most that we've seen from Josh Jacobs. The quarterback, in my opinion, doesn't improve with Jimmy G. Devontae Adams is still there. A new regime, not a new regime, but a new quarterback coming into the system that may struggle a little bit. And a lot of the things that really, I think, helped him last year was Derek Carr consistently but inconsistently ability to move the ball. And I'm not necessarily sure I'll put the same trust in Jimmy G moving the ball in an offensive line that has been terrible the past couple of years. A quarterback who is not mobile whatsoever, who's having foot issues. I think there's going to be a lot of struggle coming into this whole offense as a whole. That's why I'm not as high as Devontae Adams as a community, and I'm not as high as Josh Jacobs, but I still believe he could finish as a top 10 guy. I just don't see him as the top 3 guy that we saw him finish until last year. I think I'm pretty sure it was top 3 he finished last year, but he led the league in attempts on the ground. Yeah. Finished RB3, led the league in attempts. Led the league in yardage, with over 1,600 yards. He was second in attempts behind Derrick Henry this past year. I think I would agree. Regression is going to happen, but I don't think we can see the regression too much, because I think we can say the same thing with Austin Eckler in the passing opportunities. 127 targets in the air. Surely there's regression there, especially if Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and now Quentin Johnson on board is going to be coming on. So I would agree there. Peter Fan said I can't take Bijan in the top 2 rounds. He's my RB11. That's fair. I think he's deserving in the middle of the second here. I would say kind of where Derrick Henry went. I think Derrick Henry deserves to go where Bijan Robinson and CMC goes. I think it's just flopped for me. Derrick Henry goes as my RB3. Bijan Robinson goes as my RB7, RB8 area. Yeah, Seven. If you're talking about Quentin and the Chargers, yeah, and Kellen Moore is definitely going to be great. I would agree. And Herbie is way better than Dak. Completely agree, man. I love it. I love that everyone's kind of in on Quentin right now. I think a lot of people coming in, man, you should have seen it. I mean, I was getting roasted in Dynasty. I mean, once again, I was pretty bold on my take. I had him as my wide receiver 1 going against Jackson Smith and Jigba, which, to be honest, yeah, it may not be the easiest argument, but I see the pathway for Quentin. I think the workload and the tape and everything that I saw can easily put him as a wide receiver 1 in this class. But yeah, Jackson Smith-Njigba, phenomenal season. His sophomore year with the phenomenal quarterback, and Quentin was doing that with Max Duggan, right? So we'll see. Once again, hard to argue for sure. We got an Eagles team at the 103. The fan bias is showing. For sure. Devonta Smith, Hurts, and Miles Sanders. I see you. I see you. Okay, this is phenomenal here. I like the Cam Akers pick at the 5-2. Justin Herbert goes to the 5-10 with Justin Fields right after. I have an option of picking 2 wide receivers that I truly love. Calvin really went at the 3-12. Do I go Calvin or Kirk here? But for me, I feel a lot more comfortable with Deontay. I have Deontay Johnson 1 spot higher than Christian Kirk. Or let me just double check that. Sorry. I always say something and then I was like, actually, let me just double check that before I put my foot in my mouth. Because I did just release a video about Christian Kirk and Deontay Johnson, and my wide receiver that I should be taking is Christian Kirk. He is actually my wide receiver 24. Deontay Johnson is my wide receiver 28 currently. So they are really close. I do have a couple other people in between. But either way, I mean, I feel a lot more comfortable. Maybe I need to, because right now my rankings, I have Christian Kirk. Or maybe let's not say who I have because I don't want to mess up the draft. So let's see. But I love Christian Kirk. You can get him in this draft 3 rounds later. I kind of built that in my video today that I released earlier today. If you guys want to go watch that, 5 wide receivers you must draft. I can get his value later. I think, yes, Calvin really can finish as a top 10 wide receiver, but I think Christian Kirk can finish as a top 15 wide receiver. And I think he's still going to return significant enough value to be my wide receiver 4 on the team, where you're drafting Calvin Ridley as your wide receiver 1. No offense, Cap. No offense, Cap. But that's kind of my thought process there. I would just rather get the value later with still a similar upside. There goes Deontay Johnson. Almost came back around to me. Okay. So the 4 people I have in between, Christian Kirk and Deontay Johnson is Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jahan Dotson, and George Pickens. I can't believe I have George Pickens higher. I definitely need to change that for sure, because I would easily take Deontay Johnson over George Pickens. And now looking at my rankings, I would easily take Jordan Addison over George Pickens as well. So that's where I'm going to go here. Let me switch that in my rankings right now. Update that. As much as I love George Pickens this year, I would rather have the upside of Jordan Addison. And maybe that's just a mental mistake by me putting it in my rankings like that. James said, I've been divine too on almost every mock and redraft. I love that. I love it. JT was the #1 pick just the other year. Both he and Henry are getting pushed down. Yeah, I think for me, Jonathan Taylor, in my opinion, it's hard for me to draft him where he's going. Just because I think his upside is limited. Anthony Richardson coming in with a rushing upside here. And, you know, Shane Steichen, yes, we've seen the history of Jalen Hurts and this running back room. And we saw Miles Sanders last year finish as a top 15 wide receiver. But I think Anthony Richardson takes away significant opportunities from the goal line, short yardage. They're going to do a lot of RPOs, and maybe that's my bias. Maybe that's my concern here with JT, because JT, yeah, you know, head and shoulders above Miles Sanders as a talent. And he finishes as RB15. Jonathan Taylor, I would easily argue and say, yes, he can finish higher than what Miles Sanders did this past year. But I would say in an athletic standpoint, Anthony Richardson has better use using his legs versus Jalen Hurts. So that's why I kind of have all these other guys ahead of Jonathan Taylor. Every running back that went here in the first 2 rounds outside of Tony Pollard, I have Derrick Henry higher than JT, are all ahead. So Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry are all ahead of Jonathan Taylor. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm a bit worried for JT this year specifically. And if you remember, his RB1 season was the lowest running back fantasy points finish that we've seen in the last 5 years or 6 years, something like that. And now with the mobile quarterback, his quarterbacks, remember, Phillip Rivers, his rookie year, Carson Wentz, his second year, and then this past year, he had Matt Ryan, all pocket passer quarterbacks, obviously outside of Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was a mobile quarterback in his prime, I guess you can say. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Keyman, if you want to get one of these mock drafts, all you have to do is join our Discord, brother. Discord is in the description. I'll put that in the chat as well. Come here, join this Discord, and then go to content releases on our Fantasyland tab here. I'll even show you. If you want to join the Discord, all you have to do is come here. Fantasyland tab, content releases, and this is where I can join. You can join the mock drafts. I'll always send the link here. It's the link is going nowhere else besides here. So keep that in mind if you want to join a mock draft in the future. See drafts on Sunday, brother. Hey, good luck. As a redraft on Sunday, it's a bit early, man. You should tell them. You should definitely convince your league to push it back. Because I wouldn't want to do my redraft leagues on so early into the season. I mean, we've seen not so many injuries, but for example, Kadarius Toney injured week 1 of practice essentially, and now he went to go have surgery on his knee, but hopefully he's going to be ready for the opener. Come on. That's maybe just my hate for Kadarius Toney. James Cook, phenomenal pick there. I was kind of sneaking in. I was hoping that he was going to fold to me right there. Want to get some more depth at the running back position, but it's okay. Here goes Zaza. Antonio Gibson, not a bad pick there. Dang, that's who I was going to take. Guys, it can't happen again. Every single time. Okay. If you're relying on Tony, you're already screwed. I wasn't relying on Tony, Josh. I definitely was not relying on Tony. I definitely was not relying on Tony. Okay, let's go David Njoku here at the 8-8. I don't think I'm going to get another quarterback or tight end coming back to me. There he goes, Elijah Moore. I love it. If I don't take him, I want to see somebody else take him. That's what I was going to take. I had to wait. I was like, I take him every single draft. Let me relax. There goes Sky Moore. Cat says, I would say similar upside, similar floor, yes, maybe even fairly similar projected, but really has top 5 upside. Kirk has upside of wide receiver 12 or 15. Yeah, I would look, Cat, I completely agree. Top 5 upside, that's probably why you draft him as your wide receiver 1. Completely agree. I just think that it's kind of hard to ride on one that hasn't played nearly almost 2 years. who doesn't have the chemistry with the quarterback that we hope. And look, Calvin Ridley can easily be a top 5 guy. I completely agree. I'm just going to go with the chemistry and production that I already know is there. That is going to be a top 50. So, like, I'm drafting Christian Kirk, that has the upside as a top 12, top 15 guy, as my wide receiver 4. Now, if Calvin Ridley doesn't produce a top 8, I would say, not even top 8. I mean, let's really count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So top wide receiver 17 finished. That's a huge disappointment, where Christian Kirk, I mean, I'm getting him like in the 20s, and I'll make my pick here. Okay. So I kind of want a Devonta Smith there, or Deshaun Watson. I'm going to continue to punt the wide receiver position and running back position. I'm going to take the guy that I've been raving about. Let's go Tua Tags right here at the 9-5. I get the stack with Tua and Tyreek Hill. I love that start. So back, so 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Wide receiver 33. I feel like that return is going to be great. So yeah. I think sometimes, Cat, I would say the community, especially an underdog, the price for Ridley is a little bit too much for me, a little bit too rich. If he falls, because like in the 3rd round, I know it's 3-2. So I mean, even if you swap Amari Cooper and Calvin Ridley, it just feels like it's a bit too much of a price. I would say late 4th is where I feel comfortable taking Calvin. It's like, you know what, I can understand. But I've seen in Best Ball where he's going middle of the 3rd sometimes. This is the first time in our mock drafts we see him going at the end of the 3rd here. He normally goes middle of the 4th round, which feels a little bit more comfortable. But let's see. I'm not knocking Calvin Ridley, because I'll take him early if I truly, because I do believe it. I just think the value is better with Christian Kirk there for me. That's where I think our good value. I think it's extremely unlikely Ridley finishes outside the top 17 wide receiver, consider his skill set and where T-Law likes to throw the ball. Yeah. And I think my rebuttal there would just be like, he hasn't played in almost 2 years. And every situation's different. And I'm not saying that he's not going to pick it up like he's riding a bicycle and he has been practicing in training camp, because the closest thing we can really talk about and compare it to when we think of someone that hasn't played football and walked away from it, or football was taken away, is Deshaun Watson. But Deshaun Watson didn't have OTAs. Deshaun Watson didn't have practice. Deshaun Watson didn't play preseason. Calvin really is going to have those things. So I think his value is going to rise even more when we see him maybe playing a couple reps with Trevor Lawrence in a preseason game, just to get that chemistry. Whatever the case may be. Look, love Calvin. I love everything he's going to do. I believe in him as a talent, without a doubt. I don't think he's going to pick it up like that. I think it's going to take a couple games, maybe 4 games, 3 games, right? And then maybe he does. Maybe he's a top 5 wide receiver. Who knows? What's happening, Ron? How we doing? If we can get 35 likes, Ron, we can definitely hit another mock draft for you guys. So make sure you drop that like button, please. I saw someone push out a video just the other day on rushing QBs, and the running backs were not that affected. That's fair, Gator. With Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, for sure. Those preseason injuries, yeah. J.K. Akers. Hey, 7. That year, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers got injured. That was... We drafted in We started another home league with our friends, and I drafted Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins back to back. I think it was like round 3, round 4, and then I got J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, and I was just punting the running back room, and I took Michael Carter. I had Michael Carter that year as a running back. I still made the playoffs though. I still made the playoffs. It was terrible. It was terrible for me. Okay, I'm gonna take here. Let's get some running back addition here. I like Samaje Perine. Hey, Javonte Williams could easily. I mean, not starting training camp on the PUP list, which is a really good encouragement if you are a Javonte Williams believer. But it's also really difficult for me to envision him coming back to his own, maybe in returning his value. I mean, I know an underdog he's going as like the running back 28, 29-ish. I wonder where he's going here. Was he even? He was drafted. Hold on, let's see. Madison, Cook, White. Where's Javonte? Am I tripping here? Help me out, guys. Help me out. Miles Sanders, J.K., okay? Mixon, Akers. Damian Pierce, James Conner. Cook, Rachaad White. Williams. Here we go. 8-4. Javonte Williams. Okay. Not bad. I mean, going at the 8-4, they really need to have like a number of who I can't be counting this every single time, you know? Just terrible. Now I was saying in fantasy, if you were relying on him going into the season to produce, you were just donating league money. Oh, you're talking about for Kadarius Toney. Yeah. I kind of went on a little rant yesterday. I'm not surprised. I wonder if this 3rd round pick is that we got for Kadarius Toney is just technically that's Jalen Hyatt. It's either Jalen Hyatt or Darren Waller that we got for Kadarius Toney. I think it was the Jalen Hyatt pick specifically. I could be wrong. But if we traded Kadarius Toney for a 3rd and he can't even stay on the field, I'm buzzing. I am buzzing. Let's get some more running back depth here. Drafted him yesterday. Let's continue to draft him with some pass catching upside. That's Devin Singletary. Cat's all good, brother. Sometimes it happens. Let's see. Really, Cooper, Brown. Yeah, gotta get that wide receiver here. I think, in my opinion, where Pacheco went. Always want to build around the wide receivers, in my opinion. I like this star for me. Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave, Hopkins, Kurt Addison with Josh Jacobs, J.K. Dobbins, Perine, Singletary with Tua and Njoku. I mean, I wonder how far Tua truly would have fell. Because if I would have taken Elijah Moore there, then David Njoku fell to me. That would have been sexy too. But hey. So my friend took Barkley the year he tore his ACL. And then next year he took Dobbins and he did the same thing. Oh no. Yeah. I think that's why I'm a little bit hesitant on these guys that are coming back with a year removed so far. Not historically. I saw this sleeper actually put out, and I took a screenshot of it. I'll let you know. I'll let you know what. I wish I can show you the screenshot. Let me pull it up here for you guys, and I'll kind of read to you what it says. What I'll do is I'll actually upload it to. I have an idea, so I can show you guys. Give me a second. But I mean, the context here is pretty. I think it's pretty significant because I don't think we should take that for granted. That's why I'm a little bit skeptical about some of these running backs coming in that are coming off an ACL. Okay, so this is it. Running backs fantasy finishes their first year off an ACL tear the past 5 years. So meaning they tore the ACL, and so, for example, Breece Hall, like this year is Breece Hall the year after, right? So I think a lot of people find that context a little bit confusing because they think the year after is the technically 1 year removed. Technically, it's only the same. It's within the same year, if that makes any sense. This is the running back finishes and returns. I don't see how Javonte Williams and I don't see how Breece Hall returns a top, in my opinion, top 20 finish to you. And Breece Hall right now is getting drafted in this draft specifically. I mean, if we can look at it. Where's Breece Hall? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The RB 10. I completely agree that if he's healthy, if he gets the workload, they say he gets the workload. They come out. Rob Saleh says Breece Hall is ahead of schedule. He's gonna get some preseason snaps. It's gonna be hard to kind of argue with this. But the same thing happened with Saquon Barkley the year he came back. He was gonna be ready for training camp. We're gonna ramp him up, and then right before week 1, they go, or like I'm saying like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, they go, we're only going to start him off with 30%, 40% of the workload. That year he finished RB 30. It's tough. It's a tough one. I just don't know if Breece Hall is truly going to return the value that we're drafting him at the RB 10. The ceiling is significantly higher. And Javonte Williams, I feel like he's probably a better running back to draft. I'm not on the clock, right? Okay, a better running back to draft because he's nearly going around that RB 30 finish. So, and he's hitting those check marks. Not on the pup. Starting the season off right. Let's see. Okay, this is clicking. It's getting annoying. Now you get G6. Man, where should I go here? Wide receivers. I feel like my best bet to be the wide receiver 1 still in the team is Nico here. Still getting a little bit, I mean, look. Tank, X, he's a veteran here. Let's go, Nico. Yeah, James, about Hyatt, and yeah. I think Shep and Wandale will be ready for the season, which is, I'm not too worried about Hyatt, but more developmental player for Hyatt coming in for us. Running back value was just too good. Way easier to project for Monty versus Gabe Davis or Zay. Yeah, I would agree there. Yeah, I don't like that start. I mean, I don't mind that start. Anthony Richardson and Kirk Cousins. Anthony Richardson's ceiling is massive for sure in the rushing upside. I mean, a lot of people are projecting some sort of Justin Fields type of season. Maybe that's a bit too much, but if he can rush for 800, 700, 800 yards in his rookie season, that can be a decent fantasy finish, even if he throws for 2,200 yards in the air, which is not sexy. But if he's running for 900, maybe he can score a couple touchdowns on the ground for sure. I mean, it could have gone Dak. Nah, I like Tua. Cat said, I love Zay in Dynasty, but a lot of mouths to feed in that offense, especially considering Lamar as a runner, 2 starting running backs for 2 top 5 offenses. Yeah, I think in Dynasty perspective, like you said, you like him in Dynasty. In a redraft perspective, I actually don't mind drafting him because we have to think of the injury history with these players. If Rashad Bateman, already starting on the pup list, can't get healthy, OBJ towards his ACL back-to-back, and if he can't string, 8 games together, we can see him missing some time. Then you have Mark Andrews. You left with Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers in a window of opportunity, just like we see it every year. Oh, this person missed a game. Let's see what Zay Flowers is. We're going to see an uptick in Zay Flowers' production, let's say in a span of 4 games, and we're going to really see how that is going to pan out when OBJ is no longer on that team, when Rashad Bateman hypothetically is no longer on that team. So yeah. Got to grab the handcuff, Spears. He has a number 2 unlock. Hey, you never know. Do you build the team same in half PPR? It's a little bit different, half PPR. For sure, just a little bit different. Rookie wide receivers have been cheat codes recently. Wilson, Olave, Waddle, Chase Smith, Jets. Yeah. One of these guys is going to... I mean, look, right now, Zach and I are kind of projecting that it's going to be Jordan Addison. That's why I took him with my pick here at the 7.5. He is the one stepping into instant opportunity. Over 100-plus targets with Adam Thielen no longer on this team. And this team, they're contenders, right? I think they're going to pass the ball a little bit more than what we've... I mean, they were top 3, top 4 in passing attempts in the league this past year. I think it just gets better. Gets better for these guys. Jaylen Warren there on the off the board. Who else I have? Boys, have we heard of Jimmy Graham coming back? I'm just doing this for the lows. What the hell is going on? How old's Jimmy? Is he like 35 or something like that? He's like, I mean, I can't say hella old. He's hella old for an NFL tight end. Let me tell you that much. Let me find out how old Jimmy is. He's 36. Who's the oldest tight end in the league right now that's still playing? Can't really think of one, actually. Maybe Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz. I mean, can't think of a tight end that is 30+ years old that is getting signed. Like, what's happening there? Let me see. Let me see if I can bring up Travis Kelce, 33. Darren Waller, 30. Tyler Higbee, 30. Mercedes Lewis, that's a good one, Ron. Yeah. I don't think Mercedes Lewis on the team, though. He was with the Packers. I don't think he's no longer with a team. I could be wrong. I don't think he signed with a team. Mercedes Lewis. Gosh. Mercedes Lewis is 39 years old. My goodness. Is he with a team? I'm going best player for the last pick. Who was that? Was that Tom Brady or Zeke? Yeah, man, this is kind of wild that Kyle Rudolph, true. Yeah, I don't know. Look, guys, we didn't hit the like goal, but I like the vibes that's going on here. And let me know if you want to do, we can do a super flex. Do you guys want to do a super flex mock? I'm down to go do another mock draft. We could do it 30 seconds on the clock. How do you guys feel about that? Let's do another one because it's a good vibe here, right? I think it's cool. Let's talk about football. Let's do 2 quarterbacks. Roster settings, let's save that. Let's take the bench spot out and then add a super flex. Let's update that. And let me just double check this roster. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, 2 flex spots, super flex, and bench spots. We're gonna do 30 seconds. Keep that in mind. And if you guys want to join this mock draft, all you have to do is join our Discord. Link in the description, and link is going to be in the chat. I'll put that in here for you guys right now. That is the link to this mock draft, or sorry, to this Discord. Once again, if you want to join the Discord or join the mock draft, join our Discord. Okay, go to Fantasyland tab, then go to content releases as you see here. And then this is exactly where I'll be posting the link for you guys, okay? I'm going to join here. Let's play at the end of the board here. Let's do 9. No, let's do 10. Let's do 10. Let's do 10. Once again, join our Discord. Link in the description, link in the chat, Fantasyland tab, content releases, and this is exactly where I'll be posting the link to this mock draft. Remember, this is our Flock Fantasy Discord, not our old Discord, Flock Fantasy. Keep that in mind. 3, 2, 1. There you go. There you go. People kind of trickle in there. That really helps. Make sure you drop a like as well if you're in here. It really helps as well. I'm doing another one. Let's get it popping. Gator Frank got the 2 spot. Plenty of time here, guys. Take your time. We got what? 2, 4, 5 spots here. So if not, I'll put it in the other Discord. We got Ryan. We got Cats in here. We got Keys in here. Once again, 5 more spots. Join our Discord, link in the description, the Flock Fantasy Discord, Fantasyland tab, content releases, and this is the link here. I'll fire emoji it so you guys can see it. Still only 5 spots here. Maybe what I can do is send the link again, and then I'll add everyone. I'll add our people. Let's see if more people come in here. If not, I'll put it, I'm actually going to put it in our old one as well. So everyone can see. Okay, there we go. People are joining. People are joining. Let me go back. Let me put some music on. I forgot what's going on here. So yeah, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but have y'all seen the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, number 1, and number 2, have y'all heard that album? Metro! All right, we are filled up here. Let me just pick a song. Get the vibes going. This is a super flex. Let me put it in. Super flex, PPR, non-tight end premium. 30, and I'll put 30 seconds. Okay? We'll go all the way to round 13. Let's do what we do and let's do it best, fam. This is redraft. It's a redraft. All right. All right, cool. We're in here, baby. Let me just refresh this because all right, let's get back to these questions. See if we have any questions. Justin Jefferson at the 104. Crime Low, what's happening, brother? He said, what up? Need a reality check in a Dynasty Superflex. In a Dynasty Superflex, and Fields and Garrett Wilson viewed as similar value. Some guys wanted my Fields plus more for Wilson. It's just throwing me in a loop. All right, let me read that again. In the Superflex, in the Dynasty Superflex, are Fields and Garrett Wilson viewed as similar value? Some guys want my Field plus more for Wilson. Ooh. In my Dynasty rankings, Garrett Wilson is my wide receiver 5. In my redraft rankings, in my quarterback ranking, excuse me, for Justin Fields, he is my quarterback 8. Hold on, let me get my, see, like here, I'll take Justin Fields here. So once again, let me just rephrase that so it's clear. Garrett Wilson, my dynasty ranking, wide receiver 5. Justin Fields, my dynasty rankings, my QB 8. I personally think it's pretty even. Maybe if you wanted to get the deal done, I don't think you need like an extra first. If you want to get the deal done, maybe you can throw in, a late second get it done, but it also depends on your team build. I think Fields is a little bit more valuable than Garrett Wilson in a dynasty perspective, especially Superflex. That's probably why they want more. But I'm not saying hypothetically Garrett Wilson in the first for Justin Fields. That's just way too much for me personally. Sorry, did I say the opposite way? I mean Fields holds more value than Garrett Wilson in Superflex. I might have said Garrett Wilson holds more value. Hopefully that is... Oh, Deshaun Watson. And look, I'm stuck at this position here, and it happens every single time. I look at these quarterbacks. These quarterbacks aren't going to come to me. These quarterbacks are not going to come to me. And I took Tua this past draft. Getting Justin Fields and Tua here, I think it's a good start for me personally. I just know he's not going to come back. I know it's crazy when you have some of these wide receivers on the board. So I needed to hear that because I was losing my sanity trying to wrap my head around that. Oh, no worries, man. Yeah. No worries, no worries. What a day already, huh, guys? How do you feel about Twitter's changing their name to X? Like the tweet bird is out. If you go on Twitter right now, it's out. It's an X. I mean, I can bring it up for you guys. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see it at the top left here? No, yeah, right here. Where my mouse is. That used to be the Twitter logo. So what do you say now? Like, oh, I'm not tweeting anymore. I'm Xing. You know? I don't get it. I think this is going to draw a lot of people away. Look, as long as he doesn't change it. Crazy. Hey, thank you so much, man, for the subscription. For subscribing. On mobile still the same? Let me look on mobile here. Maybe you have to update it. Maybe they haven't done that yet. Let me go in my app store and see if Twitter has an update. 'Cause sometimes, you know, it doesn't automatically update. Nah, yeah, it's still the Twitter logo. Or the bird logo, excuse me. So T-Bull got Patrick Mahomes and Jonathan Taylor there. Garrett Wilson at the 212. Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 3-1 for Cat. I think that's a great start there. Really curious to see who those quarterbacks are for you. Tebow is going Nick Chubb. Once again, I'm interested to see how these quarterbacks fall because, you know, Green, they're getting Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins. I think it's, first of all, he's taking Kirk Cousins instead of somebody else. Come on. I'm joking. But the fact that you're getting a quarterback there, I think is phenomenal. I just know like in my home leagues, if I do this in a Superflex or like our follower leagues, which we had Superflex this past year, a couple Superflex follower leagues, in a redraft perspective, quarterbacks went so early. And that's kind of a good segue there. If you guys want to join a redraft league with myself and Zach, all you have to do is sign up, guys. Sign up at flockfantasy.com. Select the mother flocker tier. Send us a screenshot on Discord that you've signed up, and we'll get you in a redraft league. We have multiple redraft leagues that are opening up here that you guys want to be a part of. I know Gator Fan is part of one. A couple other people are part of one. And so much opportunity, so much fun. You get a prize pool and more. Not only do you get our redraft leagues, but you unlock all the fantasy perks that we do give, the fantasy hotline, grading your redraft teams. And we're going to be popping that off here very soon as those start to fill up here. So once again, if you guys want to be part of a redraft league, all you have to do is sign up to the Motherflockers here using our promo code LAND. Send us a screenshot and we'll get you in. So according to this, I should have went positional value. I'm gonna take Devonta Smith here. According to this, it should take positional value because the quarterbacks that are still here are phenomenal, in my opinion. And if the 112, if Buddy is available, is able to get quarterbacks back to back here at the 312 and the 4-1, what are we doing? Let's see. Let's see if he does do that. So he goes T. Higgins there. See, I'm a Spartans fan, so Cousins over Dime was easy for me to respect. All I know in redraft is Justin Fields last year was not a first-round pick. No, he wasn't. But he's finished the top 6 quarterback. Yeah, Crime, I'm pretty sure I got you. If not, just can you do me a favor, Crime, so I don't forget? Send me another one and be like, hey, want to join a league. So sorry about that if we haven't got you in one already, and we'll get you into one. So Buddy goes T. Higgins and Jared Goff there. I mean, looking at the star, I should have went Tyreek Hill or something. I could have went a completely different value here. I'm gonna get Josh Jacobs here falling to me. I still like that value. There goes Brees. I feel great about JJ and CD. Yeah. I mean, you're getting Aaron Rodgers there, and you still have the opportunity to get decent quarterbacks. In my mind, is wild. But maybe I haven't done redraft, Superflex redraft so often, because I think this would have easily changed and looked different. That's how I feel to even if it's bullish on QB and running back. So Anthony Richardson goes. No worries, Crime Lord. I like going anchor QB if I get an elite guy to start, Key said. Yeah. Ramondre Stevenson. That's wild. So he gets Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and then he comes back with Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones. I think it's a phenomenal start, personally. But maybe I need to reevaluate. I mean, maybe it's just the one mock, right? Geno Smith. Okay, so here's where it kind of starts to fall a little bit. It can go either way now. I think there's still, I would say 3 quarterbacks I might be okay. 4 quarterbacks I might be okay taking. So Cat's still going putting quarterback here. Josh Allen, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra with Najee Harris and Jahmyr Gibbs. She's a long way from suburban town. JSC, if Josh Jacobs sits out, what do you think of Zamir White and where to take him? Zamir White will jump up boards if Josh Jacobs sits out. Jahmyr White will be like what Chase Edmonds was last year. You know, what Miles Sanders was last year. Was going in the 7th, 8th round last year. And it got to a point where it got even closer to the season. We saw him going in like the 6th round. I'm not necessarily sure if I feel confident in drafting Zamir White in the 6th round. I think I'm punting that position. I'm just avoiding that backfield. And if you do draft Josh Jacobs, you hope that he does come back at some point. Look, we have to remember Zamir White's history. He tore his ACL twice in college. I think one was in high school, the other one was in college. It was the same ACL, or one of either knee. I just don't know about the longevity and the opportunities on the ground. If he's truly going to get Josh Jacobs opportunities, we're getting 300 plus attempts. I'm not necessarily sure he can handle that, because he has a lot of mileage and injury history coming out of college. So yeah, I would agree with Ty. I mean, it just wouldn't be worth it to draft Zamir White early that high. In a one quarterback league, or one quarterback drafts, hypothetically he's going, let's just say 8th round. I mean, the first players I think of is like Elijah Moore. You can get a quarterback there. You can get a tight end there. Players that have significantly more value than a Zamir White, who we really haven't seen that, I believe, kind of like Ty is saying, we're going to a committee. So I'll be punting. I would definitely be punting right there. That team as a whole, and just hope that, you know, Josh Jacobs comes back. But I don't understand why Josh Jacobs would actually sit out now, because yeah, I just don't see him sitting out anymore. All right, I'm on the clock here. Drake London off the board. Definitely want to get a wide receiver here. And for me, that will be Christian Watson. Brandon, do you like Mixon or Etienne? I like Mixon this year. He's my RB11 coming into this year. Travis Etienne, my RB12. So, look, I don't think there's any competition for Mixon. Mixon had a phenomenal year this past year. I mean, let me just remind you what Joe Mixon did. Finished RB10, 212 attempts on the ground. But here's the kicker. 60 out of 75 targets. Samaje Perine is no longer on this team. As much as I love Chase Brown, I feel a lot more confident with Joe Mixon, because on the flip side of that, with Travis Etienne, not that I believe that Tank Bigsby is going to be taking a 50% type of workload. I don't believe that. I think a 30% type of workload with goal line opportunities coming his way, with some opportunities in the air, because we can't forget that Tank is a pass-catching back coming out of college, or has a good pass-catching back profile. So I think Joe Mixon's ceiling is just, I think his floor is comfortable, where Travis Etienne floor is really unsafe right now, it feels like, for me. But his ceiling, it would be higher than Mixon. So I think I'm going with more security than upside. Okay. Oh, this is tough. I have to make a pick here. I mean, I'm going with the same running backs. I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs here. I just don't think these guys might come back to me here, and I'm okay with some wide receivers falling to me at the 7-10. So let's see. Ed says, if I get this guy that I want, this is gonna be a killer draft. So let's see. I want to know who you're gonna get, man. It was Aaron Jones. No, are you talking about DJ? If that's who you were gonna take, then no, I'll take I'm okay, because I'm happy to get some of these other guys later. Let's see. Maybe I read the board wrong, because I think there's a couple of people that still need some running backs here. Brandon said, I agree, slightly favor Mixon. JS, thoughts on Travis Etienne early on versus Tank later on? Yeah, JS. Kind of like I alluded to just before. I'm not a believer that Tank is going to take a 50% workload. I'm not a believer that this offense and this backfield is going to be 50% workload. I'm not. History tells us that, you know, head coach is blanking, but history tells us in the past that he has used multiple running backs, right? Even with Miles Sanders, his rookie year, we saw that, where there was still multiple running backs coming into that season. I did bring a video on that. I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but we saw the transitions and these running backs, you know, having even production. I just think Travis Etienne is a different talent to compare to all the other running backs. Why is the head coach names out of my head right now? Jags depth chart. Let me just look at his name so I can just say it. I don't know why I'm tripping right now with his name. Doug Peterson. There we go. I don't see Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson hasn't had a running back like Travis Etienne that can run, you know, with the speed and catch the ball like that, in my personal opinion. So once again, I think early on, Travis is going to be the guy. Second half of the season, I think we can see that workload, that 30%, 35% type of workload starting to come in. Because I just don't see how they're going to stop utilizing Travis Etienne the way they were last year. I think he saw that last year with James Robinson, and he wanted to have a running back by committee. Maybe James Robinson didn't have that in the tank anymore. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not necessarily too worried about Travis Etienne long term. I just don't think his ceiling is high as everyone is expecting with the pass catching opportunities. Because if they brought in Tank and Tank didn't have a pass catching profile, every target is going to Etienne. But Tank has a good pass catching profile coming out of Auburn, and he was one of my favorite. He was a top 6 running back coming out of this class for me, who in my opinion can handle the workload on the ground and catch the ball out of the backfield. So I guess it just depends. S got his guy here, which was, you got DJ Moore. Oh, there you go. You got DJ Moore and Darren Waller with the Daniel Jones stack. Here we go. Let's see who comes back to me here. I got a couple people that I like. Deontay Johnson, that's what I wanted. That's okay. That is okay. Kyler Murray is your QB2. I'm assuming Ryan is believing that Kyler Murray will be back by week 1. That's the belief. You know, you have to believe that. Pretty sure he'll get a handcuff or a safety a little bit later. I just feel like this team is so similar to last time. I mean, just look at tight ends here. Let's get Jordan Addison here. Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams? I'm going Garrett Wilson, man. I have been kind of off on Devontae Adams this year. I've been off of Devontae Adams, so I'm taking Garrett Wilson every single day. I like the Walker sharp stitch. Are you talking about for Travis Etienne Walker? No, I don't think so. Travis Etienne Tank? No, I don't think so. I'm a Kamara, good pick. Not a bad pick there. I'm glad I went running back, because no running back would have came to me that I truly liked here, especially at that value, at that price. Guy should be back by week 7, realistically, in my opinion. I'm interested to see, because we thought that. Remember when Joe Burrow missed some time? Okay, I'll get my guy here. I think this is where I have to go get Elijah Moore. I have my 4 wide receivers. I feel really confident in that. I don't think he would have came back to me anyway. I think it's interesting because I'm a believer that Kyler might come back now week 1. All depends on training camp. Do we know any news about training camp with Kyler Murray? Let's look up some Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray camp. Kyler Murray Buda Baker status entering camp. That's 10 hours ago. I just don't know if Phoenix Cardinals. Oh, it's the Cardinals, okay. Bird Gang. I just don't know when Kyler Murray's gonna come back, but if we're really going based off of, because I do believe the injury is pretty similar to Joe Burrow. Well, Joe Burrow's I think was significantly worse. Number one. Number two, the timeline was fairly similar. I think Joe Burrow tore his ACL week 11. Kyler was week 14, 13-ish. I think he can be back week 1. Let's see. Floor and ceiling for Tay this season, Key said. Look, no doubt Tay can finish as a top 3 wide receiver 1 type of finish. I am not a believer in Jimmy G coming into this new offense, going to a worse offensive line. Probably the worst offensive line he's played with and been with, in his career. I don't see the pathway where Jimmy G can consistently produce and give Davante Adams the ceiling and the expectation that we are hoping. Right now, he's my wide receiver 11. Sorry. Let me just double check this. Right now, he's my wide receiver 13. So I'm significantly lower than the community. Community is still drafting him at the end of the first in a one quarterback mock. One quarterback draft. I'm just punting that position right now because I'm just punting Davante Adams because I don't believe in Jimmy G that much. And I brought him in a dynasty video or in a redraft video saying that you should definitely be worried about him. So I don't know, man. Ceiling for sure. I mean, Davante Adams right now feels like he's QB proof. But I'm not. James Cook, good pick there. I was maybe hoping that he kind of fell to me. Well, Pitt's sliding because of Anthony Richardson. That would be my answer. I'm not necessarily sure Anthony Richardson is going to be producing. Is going to be producing, the fantasy points that we hope for year one. And historically, rookie quarterbacks aren't the best for wide receivers. I think that is the biggest thing there. So, Cat said, feeling good about my mock. Love that. Pittman should not be falling. No worries. Keys agrees. Yeah, JSC. I mean, you let me. What do you think? Are you taking him as right now in the community? I'll let you know where he's going on underdog. I mean, let me pull it up right here. Davante Adams, wide receiver 10. So he's fallen. He's fallen recently. Go Pat Frymuth. All right, I'm gonna take Evan Ingram here. I think I need to get him now before another tight end goes off the board. Khalil Herbert's a good pick there. Dalton Schultz. Okay, gotta get a couple other people here. Wide receiver 37 is insane. He's my wide receiver 20 last year on a horrible offense. Kadarius Toney. Okay. Let's take Brandon Cooks here. Look, it's not that Anthony Richardson won't be able to produce a fantasy relevant wide receiver. I just think I don't have the numbers in front of me. I know Zach brought a really good video on why we should be punting wide receivers for the Indianapolis Colts this year. You have to remember, one, Anthony Richardson coming into this season, or coming into the NFL, what was his biggest problem? In college, was his touch, and his ball placement. I would say a little bit of his accuracy, which I guess you can put in the same category, ball placement. There's no issue. He can throw the ball for 80 yards if he wanted to. He could run the ball for 80 yards if he wanted to. I think where the disconnect there is that a lot of people are forgetting that we are projecting what Anthony Richardson can do and not truly seeing it, just like we do every single year. I'm just not sure if he will, where Michael Pittman should be going, like you're saying. He was wide receiver 20 last year on a horrible offense. If he's going wide receiver 20 this year, that means you're projecting Anthony Richardson to project Michael Pittman, I'm assuming, let's just say 25. Wide receiver 25. I don't see that. I don't see that happening. And historically, we haven't seen that in a while. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Once again, Zach brought a phenomenal video there earlier about why you should be punting Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, and Anthony Richardson year one. Now, if he produces great, then he has broken some records. Truly, he is really changing the mold. So maybe he sucks this year at throwing, but he's still the wide receiver one in the offense that can't be worse than what it was last year. Look, I agree. I just think with the upside of other people coming into this year, I would rather take, like, for example, I'd rather take Jahan Dotson over Michael Pittman this year. I would rather take Treylon Burks over Michael Pittman this year. You know, there are some people that I would rather take. I think there's an argument for some people. Like, no, I mean, I'm taking Michael Pittman over Chris Godwin, but I don't believe Chris Godwin should go that high. I would say the same thing for someone like a Mike Williams. I'm taking Pittman over Gabe Davis, over Zay Flowers, over Kadarius Toney. I just don't think maybe where he is normally getting drafted, or where we are projecting him, where he should be getting drafted in our minds, is going to be the return that we are hoping and expecting for. And S says, now I feel great about this draft. What you get here? Shada White, Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine. So you got that backfield locked up there. There goes Trey Lance, Trigger Trey. Not bad. And then Brian Robinson. Yeah, my running backs kind of fell off here in this mock. Only have two, Josh Jacobs and J.K. Dobbins. Didn't really get any security if J.J. does miss some time. Devon, excuse me. Michael Thomas. Let me just, and Jimmy G. Okay, take Damian Harris here. Do you think he's worse than wide receiver 37 this year? AR has to be like one of the worst NFL quarterbacks in history to have that. Excuse me. No, I think wide receiver 37 is a bit too low. I would agree there. Look, let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see if I can pull it up. If we just look at the last 2 years of the quarterbacks, you know, I mean, let's look at this past year. Really, the only quarterbacks that were drafted this past year, Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, or not this past year, but I guess 2 years now. Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, none of those guys produce top 20 wide receivers. I would say the only one I can think of that was close to producing a top 25 was Kenny Pickett with Deontay Johnson as wide receiver 28. And that was with him not even starting the first half of the season. Let me just take, I'll take Tank here as well. Get some more. Oh no, Devin Singletary is available. I'll take Devin Singletary. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to think, right? Historically, it hasn't been there. Now, is wide receiver 37 too low? I agree, yes. But I would say, let me ask you this, Cap. Where should he be going? What's the range? Is that like wide receiver 20 to 25? Is that 25 to 30? You let me know where that's a good spot, because it just depends on where you're comfortable taking him. I like Pittman, but the truth is his rookie. Did you want Cam wide receiver? I'm assuming you're talking about, yeah, like you're talking about Cam Newton, right? Okay. Should be wide receiver 25 to 30. I think that's a good range for sure. I just, even within that range, Cap, there are people. Let's count wide receiver 25 to 30. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, wide receiver 25 to wide receiver 30. So Brandon Ayuk to 1, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I'm taking every single one of those players outside of Chris Godwin over Michael Pittman. I'm taking Deontay Johnson easily over Michael Pittman. Deontay is in my top 20, my 25 to 30. So I'm taking Deontay Johnson over that. Jordan Addison over that. I'm taking Elijah Moore over Michael Pittman. Obviously, you know how bullish I am on Elijah Moore. I think that is the difference. All these guys have, in my opinion, a more comfortable and higher upside with their situations. Jordan Addison over 100 plus targets with Kirk Cousins, who has produced. We've seen it with Adam Thielen. Deontay Johnson, wide receiver 28. We know he's going to get 125, 140 plus targets. Elijah Moore, maybe I'm projecting a little bit. Completely agree. So maybe there's an argument there. Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba coming in, but maybe in the first half of the season he can still be a top 22 wide receiver, which we've seen. Brandon Ayuk, the same thing. No matter who the quarterback is, Brandon Ayuk feels like the safest one out of that wide receiver room, no matter the quarterback, because Trey Lance was, at least all the conversations that Trey Lance was favoring Brandon Ayuk, not Deebo Samuel. Brock Purdy is going to be targeting Brandon Ayuk, so I think it's hard. And yeah, it's not Michael Pittman as a talent. It is Anthony Richardson being his rookie quarterback this year. Nothing wrong with Pittman in year 3. He's looking to get a contract. I personally like him, but you have to acknowledge first year with AR, the future looks great. Oh, completely agree. The future does look great for Michael Pittman, because if we are really, with Shane Steichen there, really projecting this offense and Shane Steichen to develop Anthony Richardson like he did Jalen Hurts, we're buzzing. We're winning. I mean, you're on the up, right? So I agree. Guess I'll take Tank here. We'll finish off with a running back run here. Jonathan Mingo, and then Buddy with the last pick. Oh, man, I would have to go through a lot of people. Look, I think everyone, let's just say this, everyone had a good draft. How about that? All right. Guys, it was a good day. Good mock draft, good night. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you drop a like before you head out. And I'm just going to plug a couple little things. If you guys want to join a redraft league, all you have to do is sign up using our promo code flockfantasy.com, using our promo code LAND. Sign up to the Mother Flocker tier. send us a screenshot on Discord, and we'll get you hooked up to a redraft league as soon as possible. It's a prize pool. Not only do you get the prize pool and join the league with Zach and myself, but you get our rankings, our articles, our bonus content, and also our fantasy hotline. You get your one team graded on redraft and dynasty, and so much more. So consider that if you want to play in a redraft league with us. And once again, sign up at flockfantasy.com/lands using our promo code if you want to join a redraft league. It's all love. Appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I think I'm going live on the Dynasty channel tomorrow. I'll keep you informed. But now with training camp on, I think I want to do another live stream on redraft tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys informed. And it's all love, y'all. Love.